BridgesTV has an exclusive fashion interview. Meet the international sensation who was named by Dubai Fashion Week as the Emerging Talent winner. Wife and mother, RabiaZ incorporates East Coast fashion with Middle Eastern traditions. Today we will have her on the show talking about the RabiaZ collection, the new modern Muslim woman style. Hi, how are you today, Rabia?
I'm great, thank you.
Great. Okay, so how did you become interested in fashion?
Well, it's sort of a long story, to be honest. It started as a childhood hobby. Never thought I'd be where I am with the hobby. Just the experiences I went through sort of rerouted my life this way. And it was as if it was my calling, really. So it went from a hobby. I used to design for my Barbie dolls. And then I started just designing as a freelance. In my young teens to late teens, I was already designing bridal wear. And then from there, I took some fashion courses. And it was always a secondary thing, though. It was never a priority in my life.
Right.
But the way everything happened, my concept, the rise of my concept, or when it was born, when the concept was born, was back when I started wearing hijab for the first time, and this was about a few months before 9/11 happened. So I had just discovered the beauty of hijab and the tranquility. You know, living my own little world, and then this unfortunate incident happened, and of course it was difficult for everyone, and it did change lives. So in 2001 there were no options for women that covered like basic things like just long tops and long sleeve. So in California I had a very hard time just finding basic, you know, everyday clothes to wear. So shopping became quite depressing, really. So I started with just coming up with basic stuff, like I'd produce them in Dubai with my mom, and I'd just send her the designs and she would do them. And it all started with very basics, which is like long tops and tunics and scarves, different scarves. And, you know, just helping myself. Others started reaching out to me and saw that, wait, this is a better option than back in the days wearing the abaya or the jalabia. The long black robe was difficult to wear. So, you know, the community started reaching out and saying, can you also help us? Can you make us some stuff? So it sort of started like that. And I said, why not? And then I started to just you know, expand on that and made it an online business. So that lasted a couple of years, but as a fashion brand, the way I started in fashion was in 2007 when I won Emerging Talent in Dubai Fashion Week. Then that was it. So it was a huge move from the online business and then taking a break, putting in many years of research and, you know, discovering different cultures and different needs. And so by 2007, I was ready to launch it into mainstream fashion.
Okay, so what's the difference between the fashion that you create and a jilbab?
Okay, what I do is we create ready-to-wear. In French, it's prêt-à-porter. So it's ready-to-wear everyday clothes. And also prêt-à-couture, which is sort of a high-end ready-to-wear. The difference is that it's everyday clothes. And a jilbab is more sort of traditional. We do design abayas as well. I have a third label that does only abayas. So the abaya is the black robe that the women, especially in the Gulf and Muslim countries, wear. So we have our conservative couture line does the abayas. So that's really the difference, is that it's your everyday clothes.
What kind of a woman would you say wears RabiaZ's garments?
Yeah, so age-wise, the RabiaZ woman, age-wise, she's between about 17 to 55. She is a proud hijabi. She loves to wear modest but modern clothing. She's very confident, and she loves to express herself.
Okay, great. And how do you bridge that gap between modern clothing today, as we see in America, and Muslim culture?
Yeah. How do I bridge the gap? For me, I suppose, because I've spent so many years, I've lived in many different communities, traveled across the world, and living back home in Dubai. Dubai is such a diverse country, city, people from all walks of life. In fact, you know, our locals are actually the minority there. So, you know, having that diverse background, it helped me to create a brand, a fashion brand that speaks to more than one culture. That's why in the beginning I used to say my woman is universal. So she really is. She's from everywhere. She's not just from one continent or one city. So I think just having that background helped me, and keeping the clothing modern and not traditional, but taking traditional elements and fusing it into something very modern, something that can easily be worn by anyone today. Hijabi, non-hijabi, Muslim, non-Muslim, is what I think you know, the best accomplishment has been. Yeah.
So I've seen a few clips, and I see that your mom accompanies you to the market in order to purchase some fabric. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. My mom's great. She's always inspired me and always motivated me, always encouraged me to follow my passion in fashion, and I think she's the reason why I started it in the first place. She's always been very encouraging, and she's amazing that way. She definitely is my market person, if you want to call it that.
Oh yeah.
I delegate all the hard stuff to her, actually. But she's great. Yeah, the clip you're talking about is an older clip from 2008, I believe.
Right, yes.
So we don't do a lot of that anymore, but she's very much involved. She's part of my business, and she's great. She's great help to me, yeah, especially when I'm looking for the bargains. So she's the one to go to the market.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your upcoming collection.
My Spring-Summer 2012 collection is called Traditions Today and Tomorrow. It's a collection I took inspiration from a very traditional piece of garment called the mukhawara. It's a garment from the Emirates as well as the Gulf, and it's a long dress that especially the older women used to wear. Very few women wear them now. But it normally has a lot of embroidery in the front and in the arms, and the sleeves are loose, sort of like a kaftan, like the way my top is. And it tends to be very floral, and the embroidery is usually either geometric or floral, very colorful as well. So I wanted to take this garment and sort of revive it, but in a very modern context. So I took inspiration from it, and we've just done these really fun pieces of clothing item like kaftan tops, kaftan jumpsuits, which don't really exist. So it's been, actually that's one of my favorite looks in the collection, is the kaftan jumpsuits. And we used print. Instead of the embroidery, we've used print that's been inspired by the embroidery. So, but very fresh, very summery, very light collection. I'm wearing one of the pieces myself today.
Okay,
yeah, and the show is being produced and directed by the celebrity stylist Kite Brewster. He's been an amazing support to my work ever since I started. He was one of the judges the time when I won Emerging Talent in Dubai Fashion Week. So he's been with me throughout. He's really amazing. And the venue is great. It's a beautiful venue, very exclusive and elite. And we have some very special guests coming. It is a media and buyer event, but we also have very special guests. We have our royal crown princess, Her Highness, coming to the show, and a couple of celebrities. So it should be exciting.
Sounds like a good time. Okay, do you want to describe what material your outfit is made out of right now, that particular piece?
Yes.
And talk a little bit about how you evolved from the original. I forget the. I'm sorry, my pronunciation is not good.
Okay, no,
the
muhawara.
Muhawara, yes. How the fabric from that differs from your spring-summer collection. Because when you were talking about it, it sounded like a long covered.
Yes, it is.
And how do you incorporate that into a spring-summer collection?
Yeah. Well, I told you the muhawara was the original inspiration.
Right.
But we did a lot of fun things. We also did prints inspired, as I said, from the embroidery of the muhawar. And so we've done some digital prints on the t-shirts, and we've made t-shirts in the shape of kaftans, and lots of fun mix of very modern pieces, but you can see the traditional element of the muhawar in it. The colors are quite bold and bright, very summery, but also quite bold. This time I've gone all out. I've done parrot green, dark ruby, the cobalt blue, royal blue,
such as the
purple.
piece that you're wearing now, right?
That's right, yeah. And then some cream and black, and yeah, just it's a smaller collection this time. It's just actually half a collection. And it's just a preview collection of our spring-summer. There are more variations in the collection, which will be available later on for the customers and fans. But what I usually like to do in all my collections, which not everyone gets to see until and unless you're there in our showroom buying it, or you're in the boutiques where we are and you're buying the pieces, is that we always offer a variation. And the variation goes from looks that are, even color-wise, we keep to some dark colors, and as an option, because we have customers that might be a bit more conservative and prefer the darker colors. So every season we always have a few looks that are darker, and we give them a variation or a variety of choices when it comes to, for example, our pants. What we show on the runway is really more for ramp appeal, it's for media, it's for buyers. It's to show buyers, obviously, who are not from the Muslim markets. It's to show them that our stuff, that my stuff can sit very well with the Western brands, and that's why we have to do what we do in the runways. But in the commercial line, we have, as I said, a variety to offer to our clients. Including pants that are cut more loose, tops that are, longer, so stuff like that to meet the needs of the different customers.
So, since the beginning of your career, how do you feel that you've evolved as a designer to the point where you are now?
Well, certainly every day is a learning experience, and I don't think that will stop. Yeah, as a brand, we've come a long way. From facing challenges not only in mainstream fashion, because modesty is not certainly something that's common, and at the same time, on the other side is the perhaps the more conservative Muslims that didn't agree with the designs or the look. So I've had the challenge of both sides in the beginning, right? Yeah. Okay. But over time, I see that I was able to make a difference and open that door that seemed impossible. So now mainstream fashion, welcomes us around the world, which I really appreciate, because for me, as I said, it's about solutions. It's about showing that our women are not oppressed, that hijab is a choice, that it's breaking the stereotypes, and the list is endless. So it's constantly just trying to create a dialogue and bridge that divide. So it has taken a bit of time, but it has made me evolve as a person and as a brand, as a designer. As a designer, of course, you know, you learn again through trial and error. You learn from the limitations that you have in the beginning. Even creatively, there's a lot of limitations designing modest clothing. But, you know, kind of it forces you to be even more creative than, you know, a regular designer, because as I said, there are technical challenges. There are challenges with the silhouettes, because there's only so many that you can play with as far as designing. So, but it's gotten better and it's gotten easier over the years. So yeah, I think we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go.
And you're a pioneer in this field, correct? You're one of the first ones to incorporate modern fashion with Muslim wear?
That's right. Okay. I mean, the Western media started calling it Islamic fashion. To me, that's an oxymoron. I don't call it that. It is modest fashion. I do promote modesty, but I did dare to show hijab on international runways. So I guess, you know, that's what sort of set us apart, not being afraid to show this modern side of our women, and to you know, show modesty in so many, meaning modest clothing in so many variety and so many variations. But yes, the world says we're pioneers, so we appreciate it.
Have you seen anyone else follow in your footsteps, trying to incorporate the hijab? Yeah, like I said, when I started, no one else was doing this, so it was much more difficult. I had to take heat from both sides, but over the years, making it more popular and more acceptable around the world, and you know, luckily we've been welcomed around the world and to so many different fashion weeks and events and exhibitions and conferences and you name it. So, which is a great sign. There are a lot of young women that write to us. I mean, countless, and they're really sweet. They want to do what I do, and we get emails from them all the time. And there are a few of them, which I'm proud to say, that have actually ventured into this. But I know that it's not easy. And eventually, one of my brands, which is our high street line called Ruby, with that line, with our sub-label, we'd like to actually invite young designers to come on board. This is something that we would probably start late next year or the year after, where we will actually be taking them on board and giving them that opportunity to design under a brand and get the experience, because we get a lot of, I mean, I think our biggest waiting list at the moment is with interns. So yeah, it's something I would love to do and I enjoy to do, and I'm happy that you know, young women and young designers have also started to discover that they can actually, you know, design within modesty. Right. Yeah. Okay, that's great. What has been your proudest moment thus far as a designer?
Well, I think more than anything, I'm most grateful to Allah for coming as far as I have. When I look back and I think how it happened, I can say that 100% it's entirely by the grace of Allah, and I had nothing to do with it.
I'm sure you had a little bit of something.
No, I really believe the way the doors opened for me, and you know, as far as I've come, it's just purely by the grace of Allah, and I'm really, really grateful for everything I have and everything I've achieved and how far I've come, and the wonderful support that I have, the beautiful du'as that I receive every day from women around the world. It's really motivating. So even though the business side is tough, it's challenging, even the design aspect is harder, but it's the women that keep me going. I do also get invited to speak in conferences around the world for women empowerment, women in leadership, and I enjoy that. I'm happy, I'm grateful to represent you know, a woman of today, a Muslim woman today, as a modern face, as a moderate face, as an empowered woman. So it's great. I can't complain. Proudest moment. Gosh, there are many. My first show where I had a standing ovation, and you know, when I went backstage, it was a celebrity stylist that styled my show, Kite Brewster, and when I went backstage, he had tears in his eyes, and he was like, you know, you made history tonight. Oh, wow. And so I have a lot of beautiful moments like that. So it definitely keeps me going. Yeah. Okay,
Rabia, where else do you receive your inspiration from?
It's different every season. For example, last season, my inspiration was, or my muse was, one of the fans. We have this neat little thing on my website that allows customers and fans to send us images. And the link says, become a RabiaZ muse. So they'll send photos of them really cute, dressed up and everything. And of course, there's an option, only women view it from our admins. And there's an option where they'll say we're allowed to share it with, like online with our fans, or we're not. So we have that option. But anyway, last season, this lovely young girl named Aisha from UK sent her images, and I loved it. She inspired me to create an entire line, wow, just imagining her traveling through Europe, and it was so much fun. So I'm really lucky because we do get to interact directly with the fans, and though I don't get around to emails, but I do my best to get all the feedback. So especially when they send images, I love to see them. And we also ask the fans what is it they'd like to see on the runway. So we get direct feedback, and I make sure that every season I incorporate what they want to buy, what they want to see in the runway into the collection, which is great. So they totally inspire me. And this season, with the very traditional Emirati muhawara inspiration, my muse actually is an American traveling, really? Yeah, traveling into the Emirates, and she goes back. Of course, it's imaginary, right? She goes back with two lifestyle key items, which is a t-shirt and the tunic. So I've just done a variety of t-shirts and tunics, and also the salwar with the long traditional muhawara that I was telling you about, the long dress that the Emirati women wear. Right. They also wear these pants under that are fitted in the bottom and have some embroidery, and then they're baggy, so we call them shalwar or salwar in English. And so the pants were inspired by the shalwar, so the shape of the trousers and the how it's fitted and how it's baggier on top. So yeah, it's honestly, it's different every season. It could be art, it could be my travels, it could be a muse, a fan, a person. So it's different every season.
Do you have any future goals you'd like to attain?
Yeah, one of the things I've always strived towards and I'm working hard towards is taking the brands and taking modest fashion into mainstream fashion, which is not the easiest thing to do, but that's part of the reason why I keep the clothing so modern, and I offer such a variety mix of stuff that can sit well with the stores in Western malls, for example, because I know that, you know, Muslim women live everywhere, and the best and easiest place to shop is your local mall. So for me, it would be a huge accomplishment to have you know, my sisters just walk into the malls and easily be able to buy basic clothing needs that they have, which is, you know, again, the loose long tops, for example, or stuff we take for granted, the rest of us take for granted. Yeah, I know how challenging it can be to get out and shop, find something that you don't need to layer and layer and layer and match and you know, mix and match all the time, and it can be so frustrating and time consuming, and it's not the easiest thing to do, and I completely understand that because I've gone through it. And that is why for me the goal is to offer you know, everything from workwear to sportswear to casual wear to dressy evening wear. Everything that a modestly dressed woman needs is a one-stop shop, and with the matching hijabs and shailas, you know, complete ensembles. And you know, to me that would be a huge accomplishment. It would be a huge accomplishment to be able to do that into your local mall, you know. So that's the goal, is to get to take modesty into mainstream fashion.
Okay, well, thank you very much, RabiaZ, for coming over to BridgesTV.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We look forward to seeing you at a mall nearby sometime soon.
Thank you, and I look forward to having you at my show.
This has been an exclusive BridgesTV interview with RabiaZ. We'd like to warmly thank her for coming on to the show. To find out more information about her upcoming collection, you can visit www.rabiaz.com. I'm Natalie Nieves, and remember, modesty is always in style.